U.S. President Joe Biden and his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping held critical talks today in a virtual summit amid rising tensions between the two countries on several fronts. Taiwan and human rights violations by China are Biden's top focus. On Taiwan, President Biden struck a balancing act. On one hand, saying that the U.S. maintains its long-standing policy of recognizing the One China policy guided by the Taiwan Relations Act. But the president also warned that the U.S. opposes any unilateral efforts to change the status quo of Taiwan. Chinese state media reported that President Xi warned that U.S. support for Taiwanese independence is like playing with fire, and further said that some people in the U.S. intend to use Taiwan to control China.
President Xi pointed out that the One China principle and the three joint communiques serve as the political foundation for the bilateral relations. He said the reunification of the Chinese nation is the shared aspiration of all Chinese. And we will try to make the most efforts for the unification, but if the Taiwan separatist forces take provocative measures and even challenge the bottom line, we will have to take decisive measures. And China doesn't have any room for concession on issues concerning its sovereignty and territorial integrity.
The Chinese Foreign Ministry, after the meeting, further said that both leaders had agreed they do not want a Cold War, and that President Xi asserted that the planet was big enough for both the U.S. and China to prosper together. President Biden also brought up concerns against human rights violations by China in regions like Xinjiang, Tibet and Hong Kong, and discussed the importance of a free and open Indo-Pacific region. President Biden was also clear on the need to protect American industries from China's unfair trade and economic practices. Climate change was also brought up, and the two leaders spoke about the importance of addressing the global energy supply crisis. Earlier in the day, in his opening remarks, President Biden called for candid discussions and said that the two countries need to establish some common sense guardrails in order to prevent conflict.
It seems to me we need to establish some common sense guardrails to be clear and honest where we disagree and work together where interests intersect, especially on vital global issues like climate change. None of this is a favor to either of our countries, what we do for one another, but it's just responsible world leadership, and you're a major world leader, and so is the United States. How our bilateral relationship evolves seems to me to will have a profound impact not only on our countries, but quite frankly, the rest of the world. We have a responsibility to the world as well as to our people.
President Xi called for greater cooperation and communication between the two countries.
Right now, both China and the United States are at critical stages of development, and humanity lives in a global village, and we face multiple challenges together. As the world's two largest economies and permanent members of the UN Security Council, China and the United States need to increase communication and cooperation. We should each run our domestic affairs well and, at the same time, shoulder our share of international responsibilities and work together to advance the noble cause of world peace and development. This is a shared desire of the people of our two countries and around the world, and the joint mission of Chinese and American leaders.
The two leaders have previously spoken twice on the phone since President Biden took office, and with President Xi refusing to travel abroad due to the ongoing pandemic, an online virtual meeting was the only substitute for an in-person summit. Well, earlier today, international affairs expert Stephen Golub joined us live from California, and this is what he had to say.
Well, Well, it may agree to dialogue, but I think the outcome, both in the short term and the longer term, at best will be to agree to disagree. China asserts that that Taiwan is part of China and that it has, in effect, the right to take Taiwan back, although it would be disastrous if it moved in that direction. So I think you're not going to see an agreement between the two sides in any formal sense. And the best we can see might be that tensions die down a little bit by virtue of ongoing dialogue, perhaps the cooperation in other areas, be they economic or environmental or whatever.